China is quietly making its move in Iran, allegedly supplying special weapons to Mojtaba, as U.S. bases continue to take repeated hits. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast on World Perspective. The Middle East is heating up in a way that goes far beyond any previous scenario, as a new wave of allegations suddenly pulls China into the center of a high-risk conflict spiral. Unverified reports are spreading rapidly, suggesting that Beijing may have quietly intervened in Iran, even being suspected of providing advanced weapons systems to Mojtaba, a figure deeply embedded within Tehran's power structure. At the same time, a series of U.S. bases across the region are being struck with an unusually high level of precision. Military analysts are now raising serious questions about the targeting capabilities behind these attacks. What is truly shocking is not just the level of damage, but the clear shift in how Iran is executing its strikes. Targets are no longer random, they show signs of a far more sophisticated reconnaissance and targeting system. This transformation has pushed China's name directly into the spotlight, as accusations grow regarding technological support, satellite data sharing, and remote warfare capabilities. All of this is shaping a tense landscape where every movement has the potential to alter the regional balance of power. China is being pulled straight into the eye of Iran's war storm. A geopolitical earthquake is unfolding as allegations emerge that Beijing has quietly supported Tehran at the exact moment tensions between the United States and Iran are escalating rapidly. At the center of suspicion lies satellite surveillance systems, believed to have given Iran a major leap in battlefield capability. Data from orbit has effectively become a God's eye, enabling real-time tracking, high-precision coordinate locking, and guiding strikes with surgical accuracy against U.S. bases across the region. This represents a strategic upgrade, transforming scattered attacks into coordinated operations with timing, rhythm, and clear destructive intent. Washington is deeply shaken. Because once a major power like China is suspected of providing reconnaissance capabilities, the nature of the conflict changes immediately. The Middle East is no longer just a regional battlefield, it begins to resemble a shadow confrontation between global powers. President Xi Jinping has not confirmed any military support. But the timing of events raises serious questions. Iran's strikes are suddenly more precise. Intelligence signals appear to align. Operational tempo has clearly increased. Iran's attacks on U.S. bases in the Gulf have reached a level of precision that has startled military observers. Missiles and drones are no longer scattered, they are striking key vulnerabilities with accuracy. New data reveals a deeper layer of the battlefield. Suspicions are rising that Tehran is receiving reconnaissance support from Chinese-operated satellite systems, enabling wide-area observation, continuous updates, and real-time targeting. With orbital, eyes in the sky, Iran's strikes now resemble carefully calculated campaigns, from target selection to timing and approach trajectories. This marks a shift from reactive attacks to strategically guided operations. Xi Jinping has made no official confirmation, but developments on the ground are raising sharper questions. Iran appears to be leveraging highly reliable data, and that changes everything. The battlefield is evolving into a space where great powers compete indirectly, where data and technology determine the effectiveness of firepower. One side provides vision, the other executes the strike. This combination creates a dangerous synergy, pushing the conflict beyond regional limits. The Strait of Hormuz is under blockade, yet Chinese-linked vessels continue to pass through. The U.S.-imposed maritime blockade has pushed the region into extreme tension. This is one of the world's most critical energy transit routes, where every movement directly impacts oil prices and global supply chains. Washington has deployed warships, surveillance aircraft, and dense monitoring systems, presenting an image of total control. But reality tells a different story. Shipping data shows that multiple vessels, including those linked to China, are still moving through the strait. One sanctioned tanker managed to pass through, carrying hundreds of thousands of barrels of methanol and exiting the Gulf successfully. This detail is explosive. It turns the blockade into a direct test of U.S. control capabilities. On paper, everything is sealed. In reality, the route remains open, for those with enough strategy and confidence. China's presence sends a clear signal: Beijing is willing to protect its energy and trade interests, regardless of pressure from Washington. Meanwhile, Iran continues to maintain flexible control over the region. The vessel Rik Star has become a symbol of defiance against U.S. power. This sanctioned tanker, linked to both China and Iran, carried hundreds of thousands of barrels of methanol through the Strait of Hormuz at the height of tensions. Tracking data confirms it exited the Gulf successfully, despite heavy U.S. monitoring. This is more than a commercial voyage. It is a direct challenge to Washington's enforcement power. Xi Jinping does not need loud statements. The actions at sea speak for themselves. Rikstar has become a symbol, proving that control on paper must be tested in reality. Beijing speaks softly, but the strategy is hard. China calls for restraint, stability, and protection of global energy routes. The language is diplomatic and measured. But on the ground, a different picture emerges. Accusations of satellite support persist. Chinese-linked ships continue moving through the blockade. This creates a striking contrast between words and actions. Iran benefits directly, maintaining economic flow and strategic position at Hormuz. Meanwhile, China expands its influence layer by layer, through data, maritime presence, and energy ties. This gap between soft rhetoric and hard action creates the greatest pressure on Washington. Allegations of special weapons transfers escalate the stakes. Reports suggest China may be supplying advanced air defense systems and battlefield technologies to Iran, potentially transforming the balance between offense and defense. Beijing officially denies all accusations. Yet on the battlefield, Iran's defensive capabilities appear more flexible, more responsive, and more resilient under pressure. If confirmed, this would mark a major turning point, turning a regional conflict into a test between global power blocs. This is no longer just a conflict between Iran and the United States. It is a test of a new world order. Iran has become the center, adapting, leveraging alliances, and reshaping the battlefield. Satellite data, shipping routes, and diplomatic signals all form pieces of a much larger game. Power is no longer defined solely by weapons, but by adaptability, connectivity, and sustained influence. And that is what makes Washington increasingly cautious. Because the opponent is moving steadily, strategically, and with growing coordination.